Good evening. This is Tuesday, March 9th, 2021 meeting of the Town of Berlin Planning Board. As a preliminary matter, please note that this meeting is being recorded and some of the attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you. The ugly band t-shirt you decided to wear tonight, or anything else you intend to or not screen share on your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured and recorded forever and ever and may possibly wind up as a TikTok video to be shared amongst your friends and neighbors. This is Tom Sanford, Chair of the Planning Board. Permit me to confirm that the members of the Planning Board are present and can hear me prior to me calling the meeting to order. Planning Board members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Timothy Wheeler.
Here.
Carolyn McDonald.
Here.
Tom Sanford here. We have a bunch of anticipated people on the agenda, but I'm not going to call all of them right now. We'll deal with them as they come up. With a quorum of the board present, I call this meeting to order at 7:34 p.m. Tuesday, March 9th, 2021. This is an open meeting of the planning board being conducted remotely consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. Specific information and general guidelines for the remote participation by members of the public can be found on the Town of Berlin website. The governor's order suspends the requirement of open meeting laws to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location and allows and encourages us to participate remotely. For this meeting, the planning board is convening using a Zoom platform as posted on the agenda, which includes links for the public to join this meeting. Some ground rules. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they've concluded their remarks, I'll invite the board members by name to provide any comments, questions, penetrating insights, and/or motions. Please hold all your insights till your name is called. Board members and speakers on the agenda, please remember to mute your telephone or computer when you're not speaking. Speak clearly to ensure accurate minutes are recorded. For any response, please wait until you're yielded the floor to state your name before speaking. If board members wish to engage in conversation with one another, please do so through me to avoid multiple conversations at the same time. Lastly, please note that each vote will be held in this meeting will be held by a roll call vote. Thank you all for your understanding and cooperation. So the first order, we have a couple of things that were just mostly housekeeping stuff, open mail and what have you. There really wasn't anything. It was just, notices from various towns and what have you. The other thing was there was 3 accounts from the accountant, which I signed and sent back to her, saying that the accounts looked like they are accurate. And then lastly, there was, a notice from Gatehouse Media, which we had paid them. So it just looked like a statement that says we haven't paid them yet, but I'm assuming that that has been taken care of. In the interim, something just crossed because we voted and paid for them a while back, a couple of meetings ago. So that's all that I have for housekeeping and mail and what have you. At 7:15, we have an A&R, and then we'll roll right into the preliminary, actually it's a definitive subdivision plan. I had some questions on that. And then the Sennies are going to give an update for River Bridge at 8:30. They have a little PowerPoint that they sent over. I haven't seen it, but I don't think it's going to be any big deal. And Chris can share his screen, so that'll be fine. And then timely items. So that's about it in a nutshell for our meeting tonight. So we have a few things that we have to chat about. And then we have to decide, I guess we're going to decide on the vote on the warrant articles next meeting. Is that true? I think we said we had enough time.
I thought we already voted on those.
We voted to include them on the warrant.
Correct.
And
Oh, right.
the hearing we talked about having on the 13th.
Yep.
So on the 13th of April, we could take action that night, or we could wait until our meeting on the 27th.
Okay, so we don't have to vote on anything tonight or next meeting.
No, all we have to do is, did we agree the last time to have it on the 13th? Did we vote to
Yes.
do it? So if we
Yep.
did, how do you know? Were you here?
Well, not the last meeting, actually the meeting before, because I have it in my notes.
So that's the 13th.
Yeah, we voted on a hearing on 4/13.
Yeah, okay.
or
So
4/13.
I'll put a notice. What I'll do is I'll work up the notice for the paper, send it around to you guys, and I'll have to get it to the paper on the 22nd. So, we've got next week to skim it over, the rest of this week and next week, and then it just needs to get submitted, and I can do that. Then it'll run on the 26th of March and the 2nd of April. That gives us the first time 14 days prior to the 13th, and then
Should
we're
be good to
legal.
go. Okay,
Excellent.
cool. And it's still 6 articles from us.
6 from us and 2 from
Two from
Riverbridge
Riverbridge.
that are zoning. So
Correct.
there'll be 8. And the Riverbridge, I'll have to look. One of them may be technical enough, so I may include the whole text. I think that's what I did last time. We don't have minutes, do we?
Jay keeps the minutes.
Yeah, but I'm just saying I can't make a motion to accept minutes because we didn't see them, did we?
Correct.
Okay, good.
Okay. So the A&R that I have the Mylar and a copy, and I sent around the PDFs of the A&R and also the definitive. I don't know whether you were able to. Carolyn, did you finally get them? Yes.
I did. Yep.
Okay. Did you
Looked
get a
at 'em
copy of them,
all.
Tim?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Were you able to open them?
I was.
Okay, because Jay had a problem. He couldn't open his. So I had to send it in an alternate way. But I have the 2 papers in the Mylar copy. So if we vote to accept it, then I can run these around and get people's signatures.
Okay. Eloise has her hand up.
Okay. She's also muted.
She is muted.
Excuse me, but aren't people that are gonna submit plans, aren't they supposed to send them to me digitally so they can be added to the agenda?
It should be.
They're not.
Okay.
I just bring that to your attention.
Yeah, no worries. I have a copy of them digitally, so I can forward that to you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Does our language say that if it's not filed digitally, we can't accept it as filed?
I'm not aware of that. I think it states that we have to have a digital copy as part of the submission. So you could argue that the submission's incomplete if you don't get that.
We could, I mean, the intent for asking for the digital copy is to let the public have an opportunity to look at our agenda and review
Correct.
documents.
So in this particular case, it's probably my fault because it was sent to me. I forwarded the copies around to you, but I did not give it a copy to Eloise.
When did you get it? We got it on the 8th. The
Yeah,
8th?
I got it earlier than that.
Okay,
The reason I waited to hand it to you guys was so it wouldn't get lost in your mailbox.
right.
But this is the same, we had an A&R earlier, a couple of months ago, and we didn't put it on the agenda either.
Yep. No, that's fine.
So it's actually, we're a minute early. We should probably just wait another minute for the A&R.
So I assume it's Seth. Seth Donahoe
Yep.
is doing the presentation, so I'm going to promote him.
Okay.
Seth, is there anyone else that should be promoted?
I believe Duncan Baum is the applicant. Good evening, board members.
Hello, Seth.
Hi. So I have an Eric Baum and an Andy Baum in the audience.
They are related to Duncan. It would be great if they are allowed to participate.
Okay.
And is Mark Rhodes in attendance?
Mark is here. Promote him as well.
Mark is not fully relevant to the A&R. He's helping the Baums with things that may be later in your agenda tonight, though. So that's your call on this one.
You should be right back to back. So we'll take care of the A&R first.
Okay.
And we'll do the definitive second.
Excellent.
And if you'd like me to give you an overview of the A&R, I'm happy to do so. Or if the board has already had a chance to review it, I can just sit back while you discuss.
How about giving us a highlight, please?
The highlight reel would be this is 128 Highland Street. It is an existing farm property, approximately 6.5 acres. And we are reconfiguring the lot lines to allow the family to develop another portion of the property, which is the Baum Highland Street Realty Trust adjacent to it. So the resulting lot for 128 Highland Street will have the frontage and area required to be considered a reduced frontage lot.
Seth, I can't read figures too clearly on my screen. So tell us how much you're going to have, how much frontage, and then tell us how much acreage on
So
that lot.
the total acreage of the property is 6.5 acres, and lot 1, which will be the lot containing the existing dwelling and its outbuildings, will have 186 and change feet of frontage on Highland Street, and it will have 214,094 square feet of land. So the reduced frontage lot, as you're aware, requires 100 feet of frontage and 200,000 square feet of area, which we exceed on both.
Yep, perfect. Thank you.
So does that lot one include, did you get the frontage, the acreage figure? You did not use parcel A, right? In
No,
calculating that?
so parcel A is to be combined with the adjoining larger parcel of the
Okay.
Baum Highland Realty Trust. And that's the secondary intent of this plan. So 1 is to make a conforming lot for the
Sure.
existing dwelling, and 2, allow for future development for the family should they choose.
So
Okay.
does parcel A have language that says not to be considered a building lot or whatever?
It does indeed say right under
Okay.
parcel 8, so it's not a building lot.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So the reduced frontage, the other requirement of the statute is that there's 400 feet of frontage continuing on either side of it. Is that true?
It is. It's abutted by conforming lots. Well, actually, the lot at 116 Highland Street, which is to the west of the property,
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if that has over 600 feet of frontage on its own. It's a very long property.
okay.
And to the other side, they are essentially regular conforming lots.
And its frontage will be on Highland, right?
Correct. And the top left of your A&R plan actually has the assessor map. And I realize in the digital format may be difficult to see, but the approximate frontages per the assessor existing are called out on that.
So Seth, was the right of way that's 60 feet, which is another issue, but was that taken out of, that was taken out of this lot?
So I was actually not alive when this lot was created, but it appears the intent was to provide a future road at one point, and that's why the property line, it actually has a rounding at Highland Street existing, and we can get into it on the next discussion item, but what was left behind does not conform to the current subdivision regulations. So the intent of parcel A is to combine that with the property to the west and allow there to be enough land and the radiuses required by the current subdivision regulations.
Okay, good, because I can remember that neck being on old maps. So what's that, 50 feet or something like that instead of?
I'm trying to look on my plan here to my side. I don't know the exact width of it, but it was under 60 feet. So
Okay, good.
parcel A combined with the existing neck will be in excess of 60 feet.
Yeah, well, that helps me because that refreshes my memory. I remember that neck being there now. Is that the only neck to that parcel, or is there another one? That's the only one?
That's it. That's its only access to Highland Street.
Okay, good. I'll make a motion so we can continue to have some discussion, but I'm going to ask Seth to fill in the blanks because I'm not going to be able to read book and page and stuff. But so I move that we accept a plan drawn by Dillis and Roy on such and such a date. What date is it, Seth?
February 22nd, 2021.
All right, and it's for Duncan and Karen.
That's correct. They're the owners.
So for Duncan and Karen Baum, Highland Street, Berlin. And to create lot 1 and parcel A. And go ahead, give us the book and page.
The deed reference for the site is book 42548, page 149, and also book 9581, page 185.
Good. And approval under the subdivision control are not required.
Oh, excuse me, I misspoke on that. It's 9881, page 185.
That's better.
I apologize.
Something didn't feel right about that.
Yeah, that didn't sound. Yeah, approval under the subdivision control are not required.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on this matter?
No, it looks good.
Okay. Hearing none, I will ask you to vote, and we'll have to do it by roll call vote. Timothy Wheeler,
Aye.
Carolyn McDonald,
Aye.
Tom Sanford, aye. The motion carries in the affirmative. And we will be able to sign this. So is Mark on the phone? Because there's a matter of, we never got the Form A and the check for with the application.
Right. Mark is here, but there's also someone in the audience that has their hand up. I'll allow them to talk so they can identify themselves.
Hi, my name's Duncan Baum.
Oh, hi, Duncan.
Hey, Duncan Baum.
Hi, I've been trying to figure this out. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Call from Hamilton.
Oh,
From Hamilton.
all right. I'm gonna mute.
Call from Hamilton.
Was there a question?
Are you talking to me, Duncan?
Sure.
No,
Duncan,
I
do you have
just
a
been
question?
listening in, but I didn't know whether you needed to hear from me or not. But I'm just listening right now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep, no worries. So I'll address it to you, Seth. Seth, there's a matter of the application and the fee, which we don't have, check for the fee. So we can sign this plan and then we'll hold it hostage until we get the application and the money.
Yeah, so the Form A and the Form C for the next hearing item, I presume, they were actually in the same package, and I can email that over to you.
They were?
They were stapled to the submittal letter. They were both submitted concurrently, but I realized through
See that?
via email and dropping things off, things may have got jumbled. So we're certainly happy to give you the
Well,
exact.
yeah, that's fine. I'm a little concerned though, because I looked through all of the paperwork and I don't have the application.
Why? It's no problem for me to get it to you again.
Okay.
And then the fee was not in there, and
Okay.
that's
I'm willing to. I can
under
bring
better
it in.
times. We got to sit down, and normally the board was kind enough to calculate out the fee, and we would write the check. So if you can let us know what fee, we'll be happy to give that to you.
Sure. So the Form A is for, this is a fee for the A&R. It's 50 plus 25. So 75 for that. And then we'll take up the other matter when we take up the other item.
No problem.
So if the board members are around in the next couple of days, I can get this around and then I can meet up with Mark over the weekend and we can get the Mylar back to him.
Okay, Tom, Mark does have his hand up. I don't know if you want to recognize him.
Yes, please.
Mark, did you have a comment?
No, I was just saying I can get the check in, no problem.
Yeah, we can meet up over the weekend, Mark. I'll have the, well, if the board members are around in the next couple of days, I can get the Mylar signed. And then we can meet up and you can give me the check and I can give you the Mylar.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so we have a couple of more minutes because I actually put it on the agenda for 8 for the subdivision. So we'll just, I don't want to start in case somebody isn't zoomed in.
When the little person comes up, what? Yes, is that you? Is that me?
No, it's not.
Is that, okay.
Oh, what made you- No.
No,
they-
in the middle.
No,
He's another doctor's law if he still has that.
they can see you.
supposed to take his motion.
I think I'm muted.
Okay, my clock says 8 o'clock, so if Seth is prepared, Seth, can you walk us through the definitive subdivision that you proposed?
Absolutely. So just formality, I'll introduce myself, Seth Donahoe with Dillis and Roy Civil Design Group. We are helping out the Baum family with the development of their property. And that is located at 120 Highland Street, which is the parcel behind what we just discussed, 128 Highland Street. The property is roughly 60 acres. It does have existing access to Highland Street, a public way. And that access strip is not wide enough to fit a road that's in conformance with the current subdivision rules and regulations. So we've created parcel A via an A&R plan, which is to be combined with the 60-acre parcel. And the proposal is to create a subdivision road that meets the requirements of the current Berlin subdivision rules and regulations. So we're providing a just under 500 feet long cul-de-sac road. It's within a 60-foot wide right-of-way, and it has the appropriate roundings and appropriate turnaround radius at the end. The site does have an existing farm road that we're generally following, and it goes down past the existing house into a low spot, and then it goes slightly up gradient to an area where we'll have the proposed cul-de-sac. So as part of the road, we're proposing a stormwater management system, and that'll also have catch basins and a stormwater basin that meets the town standards. The town requires catch basins on both sides of the road and a maximum distance between catch basins of 400 feet. We meet all of those requirements. So all the runoff from the road will be mitigated and taken care of on the property. Other than that, the intent of the road, as the family owns in excess of 60 acres, Duncan Baum, Mr. Baum is on the phone tonight. It's been his goal to build a house on a portion of it. And as the site did not have the frontage, well, has well in excess of the area, it does not have the frontage to create additional building lots. So it's a fairly modest development for a 60+ acre parcel. We're proposing the proposed road with 2 additional lots off of the subdivision. Both lots are oversized down the road. If the road were to be accepted and the zoning bylaw stays the same, each of those lots could potentially be divided again, but that's not part of our proposal right now. It's just the family's desire to plan for the future and create an access for that area and allow them to potentially build an additional house lot. So I hope that's a brief enough summary for you. There is quite a bit of information in the package between stormwater regulations. We did request a couple waivers, and that's really related to the minimal nature of what we're proposing to access. And those waivers were related to not installing a sidewalk on the road, not installing trees, and I believe lights as well. We don't propose to install those. So essentially we'd be taking the existing farm road and bringing that into something that meets the subdivision standards. Could I address any questions for the board?
So the road will be built to regular town standards?
Correct. So it would be a paved surface, meeting all the paving requirements of the subdivision design standards.
So the intent is to have the town take this as a right of way at some point, a public way at some point in time.
Possibly, yes. And that's essentially to allow the future members of the family the potential to develop it.
Seth, you suggested it was a public way as of today, and I just want to correct that for the record. It's not a public way at this point. You agree?
I do agree with that. If I did say that, I misspoke. My reference was to that Highland Street is a public way. So they have access to the existing public way.
Okay,
They
good.
do not have a public way on the property.
Good. All right. I probably misunderstood. So again, I can't see numbers. Tell me the frontage that, if we look at the lot we just peeled off, right? So that includes some of the cul-de-sac, right? Frontage?
Correct.
And then so if we start for lot 2, what have we got for frontage for lot 2 then?
Lot 2 has 106 feet of frontage, approximately 29 acres of area.
Okay, and then, and lot 3 has?
Lot 3 has 415 feet of frontage and 30.8 acres of area.
And so with that configuration, like you've suggested, you'd be able to subdivide lot 3 again in the future with the existing frontage. What's the width of the neck between, you know, the narrowest spot between lot 2 and the adjacent property that's what, I don't know, is it Mitchell or something like that?
Lot 2 is the property off the end of the cul-de-sac that has 100 feet of frontage.
Right.
Lot 3.
Lot 3 has, it would be in excess of 200 feet. So it would have the width.
That neck is about 200 feet.
It's in excess of that.
Okay, good. So talk to me about this, the further subdivision at a later date. How do you accomplish that again?
Assuming the zoning bylaw stays the same, lot 1 that you just created via the A&R plan,
Right.
and lot 2.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Their combined areas and frontage would have to be reconfigured.
Okay.
So lot 2, as it sits right now, it only has frontage for the one lot that it is.
So that hashed line that suggests what did we just say? Lot 1 has got 200,000 square feet, but only, so you'd get frontage for lot 1 off of the new road, and you'd have a significant excess in frontage and a significant excess in acreage, so you could subdivide lot 1 into 2 lots, right? That's what you're saying?
That's not really the intent. I think we're getting a little ahead of it. I want it to be transparent in that these lots are oversized for a particular reason. We're not before you for the maximum development, but lot 1 and 2, their total area and frontage would have to be reconfigured for that.
I just want to make sure that you're not jeopardizing the future potential of subdivision.
I appreciate that. So lot 1 and 2 would have combined area for one lot. The frontage requirement on the cul-de-sac is reduced to 175 feet.
Right.
And then you could have a 200-foot lot, 200 feet of frontage with 100-foot access width.
Good.
You provide another one, and then the existing dwelling, the lot for that could be reconfigured. Whereas the existing dwelling has frontage on Highland right now, we would actually have enough frontage on the proposed new road,
right,
to
so
make a regular conforming lot for that.
Good. Okay. Yep. I just wanted to make sure we were all on the same page so they weren't jeopardizing their potential, additional lots down the road. So, Tom, what do you figuring we'll give this to Scott?
Oh, okay, so Scott had emailed me and I had forwarded that email to, I don't know if I forwarded it to you. I asked you a question anyways. The Scott in his new configured company has some changes that they've made. And one of the changes was something like this. He gave me a quick estimate about how much it would be. And I think that, I don't know, to me, it seems like it's an awful lot of money for a peer review. But I don't know what else to do. So I'm sort of looking for guidance for the rest of the board. The proposed peer review for Scott was about $7,000.
Whoa.
Woo.
So what, did Scott explain what's going on?
Well, he said that there's a minimum amount that they have now for doing subdivision reviews.
Wow.
So he's looking at like 48 hours of review time, which to me, I thought was a lot of money for a
Oh, yeah.
2-lot subdivision.
Yeah.
He says there's a little bit of, some drainage that's rocky and blah, blah, blah. And so, but I didn't share with him a lot of the documents. I just gave him some to say, is it possible and can we do this? And, give me an idea of what it would be so we can ask the proponent to put some money in a slush fund for payment of that. But then when he came back with his proposal, I thought that was in excess. So,
Yeah, I agree.
so we don't have an alternative. I don't know if anybody has an idea of what we should do.
Oh, that's quite a change, isn't it?
I thought so.
I mean, that's like double, easily double, isn't it?
I looked back on some of the other ones that he did, and they were anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500.
Yeah.
The one that, what was her name? The girl that did it for us the last time, that was around 3,000. But it was 2 meetings and a couple of different back and forths. So for West Street.
Right. So he's reconfigured he's still the same business. He just reconfigured.
Yeah, but he merged with another business.
So he has to follow their rules, their billing.
That's what I'm gathering from the, it was just the email transfer. So I didn't get the subtleties of the conversation. If there was one, I mean, I can go back and say, hey, listen, we think this is in excess, but I don't know if we're going to get anywhere.
Well, I mean, he suggested to you right off the bat that we were going to be surprised, right?
He gave me he gave me an email proposal of what he thought it would be.
Yeah.
He said that there's a minimum requirement that they have to do now. So.
Well.
And why wouldn't we go with this other woman?
Oh, she works for him.
Oh. Got it.
So if she was all by herself, then I would be more than happy to.
Right.
She was great. Yeah, she did.
Yeah, absolutely. And very efficient. But I mean, I think that's a lot of money.
Right. Andy Baum has his hand up.
Okay. Elevate him.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Am I unmuted?
Yes,
Yep.
you are. We can hear you.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, this review fees have come up substantially. Do you use other consulting firms in the area to request bid prices? That is excessive. 48 hours. I bet you Seth didn't spend 48 hours doing the subdivision design himself.
I agree. That's why we were having this discussion. We're not going to spend your money needlessly. So do you have another suggestion, or if Seth can recommend somebody, we can entertain?
I know Graves Engineering in Worcester. They do a lot of reviews in surrounding communities. is one that does a lot of reviewing for a lot of different companies. And they were more in that price range that you had mentioned before.
Okay, Seth, do you have any suggestions?
I do not have any suggestions, just as much of my work is subject to peer reviews. But one thing, if I may say to the board, I think when it's mentioned to a peer reviewer that they're looking at a subdivision on a 60+ acre piece of property, the instant assumption is probably that they're doing 20+ houses with elaborate infrastructure. That's really not the case here. The road's pretty straightforward. Our waivers are completely at the board's discretion. We've not asked for nothing exotic. If
Correct.
the prices come back high, perhaps we could limit the peer review to drainage review only and not the review of the entirety, the back portion of the property or potential future zoning issues on that. I'm not looking to slide anything past the board with this, but it's just our application is essentially for the construction of a road only. Down the road, the family may choose to do different things on the property that would be subject to either this board's reviews or other review in the town.
Yeah, and the drainage really is the part that perplexes us the most. So there might be a way to peel something like that off.
Well, I can certainly have another conversation with him. I just don't want to, you know, if we, I don't know how we could. I'm just thinking that I don't want to wait until the next meeting to decide whether, you know, we send it to a peer reviewer and then all of a sudden they take, you know, a little bit more time and then we go beyond our window of, you know, having to make a decision on the definitive.
Well, the definitive, what do we got? 120 days?
Something like that.
Yeah. I mean,
And is that from the close of the hearing or is that from the opening of the hearing?
It's from when we receive the plan.
yeah. I mean, we're not going to use 120 days. I
Right.
wouldn't think.
No, we shouldn't.
I can't speak for the applicant, but I'm sure if things are moving in a direction where the family's working towards their end goal here, I don't think a one meeting extension would be out of line if it came down to that too.
Okay. So what I can do is I will have another conversation. I will call Scott on the phone and see if there's an option to peel off just the drainage calculations. And then, you know, furthermore, see, you know, if there is any wiggle room in this because we're a preferred customer.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell them that it's like Seth said, it's just a simple 500-foot 2-lot, you know, subdivision road with some
Correct.
drainage issues that we are the key issue, but you know,
But if the new company has minimums,
yeah,
then we're going to have to only use them for larger projects.
His hands may be tied. And if that's the case, then I'll contact Graves and I'll ask Graves if they're willing to look at it.
yeah, and Scott's good. He'll get back to you quick, so you'll be able to know whether you're going to go chase Graves or not.
Yeah, no, I'll call him on the phone.
Yep. I do have a question.
Sure.
Seth, are you guys also planning on going before conservation with this?
I knew you would ask that.
I knew I would ask that.
We are. So we've designed everything keeping in mind the town's current 30-foot setback policy at a minimum, and we will be approaching Conservation Commission. Ideally, we would like to work through the peer review process so that we are assured that what we're presenting to the Conservation Commission is consistent with what will follow through the definitive subdivision plan. So we don't want to jump the gun on that, but we will be approaching them for things within their jurisdiction.
Yep. Yeah, there's not much. It's really just the basin that's in the 100-foot.
Correct.
Yep. And I also just had a question. The slope of the driveway, what is that slope on the sides? It looks like it's fairly steep.
So the side of the road is graded at 3:1.
Okay.
And that's essentially to balance out as we go into the low spot, we're filling a little bit, and then we're cutting into the hill a little bit to get the road up the
to
hill.
even it out. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it dips down pretty good.
does.
It looked like you're coming up about 7 feet in that lowest spot.
I think that would be the maximum.
Okay. So when it gets reseeded, there'll be erosion mats put on the side for a 3-to-1 slope.
We would, in the highest spots, we may use jute mat on the side of the slopes, and there'd be erosion control barriers. So there's actually, I believe it's the final sheet of your plan set, or sheet C 3.03 is an erosion and sedimentation control plan.
Yeah, I was
That's covered.
reading that.
How much, some of the sequencing and measures.
Yep.
Are you taking planning board time for the damn conservation commission?
I am not. I'm making sure they're gonna comply with all of the town regulations.
So Seth, when you get into that low pocket, are you talking about a wetland issue there, or it's not a wetland? defined?
No, it's not. So that there's actually an existing road through there.
Okay.
And then there's some trailers, there's some modified, basically semi-trailers in that area that we haven't shown because they're temporary structures. The wetland issue is as you go to the west of our cul-de-sac, there's essentially a finger-like extension of a broader wetland that goes off the site. And naturally our stormwater needs to go to the low point. So we are coming to about 30 feet at our outlet there.
Okay.
And that's what we'll be applying with the Conservation Commission for.
Right. And it really is preferred to have the basin on that side towards the wet area than the other side. The other side looks
Yeah,
steeper.
we'd be fighting gravity there. It's
Yeah.
it's eventually going to end up there anyways.
Yeah, right.
The intent of the stormwater management system, it's in full compliance with the state's regulations, which require us to have certain sediment removed from it so that what's being discharged is essentially cleaner than what would be coming off the slope today.
Right. So I'm looking at, what sheet am I looking at here? This is C301. So it looks like there's a catch basin at like between 3 and 4 o'clock. And that's what then drains down into the settlement pond.
There is, so
correct?
there's catch basins at Highland Street. There's catch basins just before the cul-de-sac. And then there's a series of drain manholes that collect, and then those discharge into a forebay. So a device that
Yep.
allows kind of that first flush to get filtered out. And then there's the actual stormwater management basin, which will mitigate all the storm events up to and including the 100-year storm in this case.
And
And
all of those catch basins drain into that same spot?
They do, and that's
Okay.
essentially that's why that basin is the size it is. It's been sized to accommodate that.
Right.
And while there is essentially a overflow on that basin, that's an emergency overflow only. The stormwater under normal circumstances would not be going over that overflow point.
Right. Have they recalculated the 100-year storm calcs, or is it still something they think doesn't happen very often?
It depends on the town. So that there's different numbers that are floated around for what's used to model that. And so that's certainly something we can work with the peer reviewer as well.
Okay. And so your 100-year storm levels are based on?
It's what NOAA provides us right now.
Okay.
And it may not be an appropriate question for this forum. Is the town considering using different numbers at this point, or unknown?
Not that I'm aware of, but
Just
I
for
was-
reference, I don't have the number in front of me. I think the modeled event on this particular subdivision, I think it's about 8 inches in 24 hours. is what's considered the 100-year, give or take tenths of inches in there.
Right. Yeah, because if it wasn't for those basins going down the middle of the road, that could potentially move a lot of water fast downhill.
Correct. So the basins have sumps in them, and all the piping is sized to mitigate that.
Right. And there's going to be a curb on the side of the road too, right? I
Correct.
saw, yeah. Awesome.
Well, unless the board has any other questions, it sounds like we'll await to hear if a reasonable peer review price can come, and we'll work with the applicant on getting you whatever you need to proceed with that.
Okay, so we want to, again, there was no fee with the application, so we will figure out the fee right now. There's a $50 filing fee. There's a $1,500 fee because there was no, there was no preliminary plan. This went straight to the definitive. There's $100 for each lot. You've created 2 lots. And then we have $5 per lineal foot of road.
What's that, 2,000?
The road, it's 500 feet. It's 499 point
The
something.
the fee ends up being 2,000?
Oh, I'm coming up with $4,250.
What
was I on?
Yeah, let's go with Seth's number.
No,
Uh,
I don't think
It's better
you're,
than 7,000 still. So it's not cheap, but
hold on, 100, 200.
What'd you say? How much a foot for the road?
It's $5 per lineal foot of road. So you
So
have
it's-
500.
So it's what? Did I
2,500.
do that right?
Go ahead.
2,500?
That's
Yeah,
2,500.
That's-
Right.
the
15.
the actual paved surface of the road isn't 500 feet long. The extent of the right of way is 500 feet long. So I don't know if you guys are calculating that off paved surfaces. I can pull you that number.
Yeah, let's do it off of paved.
If you bear with me 1 second, I'll. In round numbers, the pavement length is 460 feet long.
Did you come up with a fee, Seth?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were waiting for me. So that would be $4,050.
That's what I got too. So we'll have to get a check at some point in time to the town of Berlin for that.
Okay, I'll work with the applicant and his group.
Okay. So if, I think our best bet is to, well, we're not holding a hearing, so we don't have to continue or anything like that, but we could
Right.
probably put you on the agenda for the next meeting. Just as a check-in.
That'd be great. When is that?
Our next meeting is,
23rd.
thank you. And we can do it
Is there a set time for that?
at 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock, great.
Actually, let's make it 7:45. Because I know the Sennies want to be on the agenda next time too. So 7:45 on the 23rd.
Okay, we'll look forward to that. And I appreciate your time tonight. I hope everyone's well, and we'll see you in a few weeks.
Thanks, everybody.
All right,
Thank you.
see ya.
Excellent. And we're right on schedule.
Nice job, Chair.
Just sometimes a blind squirrel finds a nut.
No, management, that's what it is.
About that. We do have-
Former Chair
Yeah,
Ron.
I'm a concerned citizen.
Oh, excellent.
What's going on?
Hi, concerned citizen.
You're doing a good job, but I also see on the agenda, Chris Senni is coming in with updates and proposed things.
He is
I'm curious on what he's gonna present.
next on our agenda.
Yep, and he is here.
Right.
So I will promote him. Hello, Mr. Senni.
Hi, Carolyn.
How are you?
Hi, good, thank you. How are you?
Good.
Good. Hi, Tim. Hi, Tom.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Good. Are you ready?
I'm ready. If you are, my brother Matt is planning to join us, but
Oh, he's here.
great.
Let's get him up there also. There you go. Matt, if you're there, you are muted. There we go.
Better?
Yep. There you are.
There we go, guys. Thank you for including me.
Hey, Matt. So I had sent a short PowerPoint presentation to Tom, asking, would it be okay if I shared my screen and showed it to you?
I did not have a chance to review it. I did get it, but I had to eat dinner, so.
Choices.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't have a problem as long as it's not like cat videos and stuff like that.
No. I just would like to summarize the 5 warrant articles we
Okay.
have and discuss which of those have implications on planning issues, and then show you a few plans. This is not a public hearing or even a formal discussion. I just wanted to bring you up to date. We hope to be back on your agenda March 23rd if there's room. And then in April, we hope to actually trigger some public hearings. But tonight was just an introduction to our preparations for the May 3rd town meeting.
Perfect. Can we have we have the ability to let Chris share his screen, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm getting it.
Right.
We've all become skilled at this.
Yeah. If I've done this right, you should be able to see my screen.
Yep.
Okay.
Which has a slide that says preparations for May 3rd town meeting. This only takes 10 or 15 minutes, but feel free to interrupt if you have questions.
It's going to be a long wait to that date, though.
Yeah.
Oh, Very long.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
don't plan to be there.
I won't either. All right, thanks, Tim. So we have submitted 5 citizens petitions that I believe have been accepted by the town clerk. And I have numbers 1 through 5 here, which signify these. The first 2 involve zoning, and so there would need to be public hearings. We have submitted a petition that would build into our overlay zone the authority of this board to approve an additional use on what we call our Lot 9B, which would be 28 townhomes or up to 30 townhomes. Lot 9B stretches from the cafe up to the daycare center. It runs along River Road West on the east side of the road. And we've submitted an article to allow up to 2 drive-up windows only within our overlay district. One would be at the cafe and one would be at the gas station. Then there are 2 petitions relative to our development agreement. The third article relates to the townhomes on Lot 9B and the zoning article. But in order to go forward with that, we would also need to amend the development agreement. And then the 4th petition, it just has several items that we think might be beneficial to the town. One allows a single payment of the public safety mitigation funds. We are obligated to pay the town $500,000 over 5 years. We would like to pay that all at once, but there isn't a provision for that, and we've submitted an article for that purpose. With our other property that is not within our overlay zone, our River Run property, we would like to extend the town's option to purchase Lot 6B for $1, giving the town an additional 4 years to exercise. We'd also like to allow a possible re-subdivision of River Run from the current 2-lot subdivision to 3 lots. And the purpose would be to give the town not just 1 extra parcel that's developable, but 2. And when I say developable, I mean that when our project was approved in 2009 and the development agreement first written, the idea was that if we shared the developable parts of River Run, the town would get some additional mitigation funds. And we think we can essentially double up on the values that the town could get. We'd also like to allow the town to accept an easement, giving the town access to the Assabet River. And I have a map to show you where that would be. And I've written in some general language about allowing other benefits to the town as determined by the select board. We are working with a subcommittee of the town that includes some people from different boards, including the finance committee. And we are aware that there are some things that the town might want to be able to do on either River Run or River Bridge that would benefit the town. And this article is designed to allow the select board to accomplish those. And the 5th petition is for a full liquor license, which would be restricted to use at River Bridge. Now, we're also looking already at the fall town meeting, and we've essentially divided all of the things we hope to do in 2021 between the 2 meetings. And there is an updated fiscal impact analysis that's been done. It was completed at the end of last year, but it hasn't been fully reviewed yet by the select board or the finance committee or others in town. So we don't feel ready to proceed with these articles for Springtown meeting, but we hope to be ready in the fall. That would be finalizing the mitigation lots for the town up at River Run, addressing the question of the ambulance service at River Bridge, when we thought we'd have a senior component called a CCRC, Continuing Care Retirement Community. We had built into the development agreement a provision that we would that we would have an arrangement for primary and secondary ambulance service. That has not been done, and we're talking with this subcommittee about whether this is needed. We do have a provision currently that if we don't build a senior component, there is an extra tax to the town. And we want to talk further about that because the updated fiscal impact analysis has shown that Riverbridge is very much cash positive for the town, considering all costs and all revenues. And this extra tax was designed to make sure that was the case. Now, again, the updated fiscal impact analysis has not been fully vetted or discussed by town boards, which is why we're pushing this off to the fall. And finally, we have some further offsite road improvements. We would like to talk with the town about perhaps trading some of those in for a cash payment that would be used by the town to design plans to replace Northbrook, the bridge over Northbrook sometime in the future, if the town wants to go in that direction. And again, all of these relate to this updated fiscal impact analysis, which is why they're not being prepared for the May town meeting. One other issue that doesn't require town meeting action is a request by the select board to see, could we widen the bus turnout along River Road West? And this line that I'm tracing here that's in a kind of light gray is where a school bus can pull over now. And we have determined with Waterman Design Associates that it can be deepened quite a bit and made more safe. And there's a sidewalk that would then allow school children to walk around and come into the property. So this is something we can just do whenever we re-site plan Lot 9B. Nobody really needs to make a decision on this. It's just something that we all ought to make sure we put into that site plan. This is the land that the town owns. It's about 12.5 acres of land just north of the daycare center, right across from Spooky World. This was owned by the Risi family. We did not buy it when we bought Riverbridge, and the town came to own this property. And the Assabet River runs very close to it, but doesn't touch it. What we have here coming in from the south is Northbrook, and it joins the Assabet River. And this part of the river here is navigable. You can put a canoe or a kayak in here. And we're proposing to give the town an access easement, a permanent easement, so that residents in the town who wanted to access the river by way of the town's meadow would have a legal right to come down and use the river. And I have an enlarged picture of that. It's an area of 10,260 square feet. And it's right where we built a very modest canoe launch with the permission of the Conservation Commission. So it would give residents of the town a chance to really access the river, which is perhaps accessible in some locations, but not very easily. This is a copy of the River Run subdivision. I actually have this in a separate plan that might be a bit easier to see. What we have here is two parcels. We built a subdivision road up to the Boundless Adventures facility, and we divided River Run into Lot 6A. And I'll trace the boundary. It comes along in this black line, comes this way, comes up toward Boundless Adventures facility, comes across, then comes over to the property line here and down, and includes this parcel that is right next to the Spooky World site. That was going to be the septic area when River Run was going to be developed as 32 single-family homes under a Chapter 40B project, which we canceled. And this lot is called Lot 6B, and this one is called Lot 6A. So 6A is here and bends around and goes into the back, and 6B is right in this location and comes all the way down around near Spooky World. The town has an option to buy Lot 6B for $1. And we're talking about extending that option. And this was always viewed as a way that the town could further offset the impacts of the Riverbridge project by being able to take title to this and use it. And this is a developable parcel here. It's zoned residential, so it really could only be used presently unless it got zoned commercial village, which is what Spooky World is zoned, for a residence. But that has value as a building lot. That would be something that the town could own and then liquidate and get the financial benefit of. But there's also an area here near the current parking lot at Boundless Adventures, which is also developable. And that's zone limited business. So it could have a municipal building here, or it could be sold to someone who wanted to put some type of a business that is allowed in that zone. And what we discovered is that we can actually get, under the subdivision regulations and the zoning bylaws, 3 lots. So instead of 2 that exist today, we're talking about maybe re-subdividing and creating Lot C, which would come with a developable parcel and an obligation to share parking with Boundless Adventures. Lot B would include all of the Boundless Adventures infrastructure and would continue to be owned by us, although half of the revenue from Boundless Adventures would still come to the town. And then Lot A would be owned by the town. So as we attempt to wrap up River Bridge and we try to negotiate the best set of amendments to the development agreement, we're talking about possibly being able to deed to the town 2 usable areas instead of just 1. In terms of drive-through windows, this is the cafe building right at the new roundabout. We have a design for a drive-up window that has the required escape lane. It fits in very nicely. Again, this would be the subject of a public hearing. I'm not asking to go into detail on that tonight, but we would like to hold a public hearing to discuss that. And the other one is at the Noria Shell Station with the Dunkin' Donuts. And again, you have the two lanes. And the last time we were before the board on this, we talked about insisting that this be a right turn only, so that traffic wouldn't come through the drive-up window and back into the gas area. That's a topic to be discussed at that public hearing. We had done a rendering of what the drive-through at the gas station would look like. And we've hired Glickman, Cavago, and Jacobs, a Worcester real estate company, to do a report, which I sent to Tom this evening, only 2 hours before the evening, but it is now available to you and others in the town. And it analyzes vacant retail space in the area. And as you'll see, nearly 500,000 square feet currently available within the immediate 2.5 mile radius market is considerable, and it's going to worsen. It's important to understand where the market has recently been and is heading in the next 5 years. That's just the introduction to this report, but you have the full report. And they provide a map of the different buildings in the area which are sitting with considerable vacant retail space. And so this is my last slide, just making our request. We would like to have an introductory discussion at the planning board meeting of March 23rd on the townhomes. This will be attended by the party which has the property under contract, John Burns of Blackbrook Realty Corp. And we would like to begin to talk with the board about scheduling 2 public hearings in April for the townhomes and the drive-up windows. So that's my presentation, and I'm happy to take any questions you might have.
I had a question about the dividing of the lots.
I can go back to that.
Yeah.
slide.
Right there, yeah. So the back portion that you said that you guys would retain, 90% of that is under a conservation restriction. Or maybe 85%. I believe, can you trace the line of the?
Yes, the conservation restriction line is here.
Okay,
And it also comes down and there's a body of water here or a sort of marshy area
yeah,
here.
there's
And it
wetlands.
comes back up. A good portion of the Boundless Adventures Outdoor Adventure Park is in the wetlands. And you're absolutely right. The remaining land is not developable for any purpose.
So you
And the
guys
only
would hold,
reason,
go ahead.
the only reason I was suggesting that we continue to own this is that this is an activity that the climbing in these structures that maybe is best not on land owned by the municipality. It doesn't have to be that way. We have an agreement in our development agreement that says we split the net revenues from this operation. They did have a good year in 2020. We will be submitting a report on that later this spring. Kind of a remarkably good year, notwithstanding COVID. So this is an additional source of revenue, 50% of which goes to the town. But it doesn't have to be this way. If the town were to say, we would like to own this parcel and this parcel, then we could keep this one.
Yeah, I was just curious as to, just to be clear that that was the one that you guys were gonna keep. And Tom, Eloise does have her hand up when you care to recognize her. You're muted.
Stop sharing, but I can go back to my presentation anytime.
Okay.
Okay.
Did your questions get answered, Carolyn?
Yes, thank you.
Is any other, Tim, do you have any questions at this time?
He's muted as well.
No, okay. So, yes, if you could elevate Eloise, please.
Okay, yep. Eloise, you're good.
Next time you do any presentations, can you send them to me so I can attach them to the agenda for any particular, whichever meeting you're going to?
Yes, Eloise, sorry. I did not complete this until 2 hours before, but I should have sent it to you as well.
I understand, not a hardship. The other thing is, I believe the vote for the townhouses, if they have an affordable component, it's now a simple majority.
I believe you're right. I think the legislature passed a law that amended the two-third requirement if there is affordable housing involved.
Okay, that's all I had to say. Thank you.
And there will be a component of that, right? On the town
Yes,
hall?
we're proposing that 10% of those units be offered at affordable rates, which would be 3. Now, these will be for sale. So it's a different product that might add something new. These are small, 1-car garage. And when you meet with John Burns again, he'll be able to bring you more up to date on the market. But we think we would be providing, or he would be providing, we won't have an interest in the townhomes, that he would be providing a way for people to own a home in Berlin at less than what a large single-family home would cost.
And then how many units again on the town?
Well, the bylaw, I mean, the warrant article says up to 30. And again, this is not something that town meeting is changing Lot 9B. This is something that would go in the bylaw and the development agreement, giving your board the authority to allow townhomes if it chose to allow them. But the plan that you will see has been revised. Bassett Road continues now to go straight through. There's no change in the road system, and therefore it's 28 units.
Okay, because I know that we were before, when we were trying to get the special town meeting for the fall, we were talking about different configurations and different total amounts, and I don't remember where we landed up. So
it's now 28, and the road system is the way it's always been. And so both the public safety directors in town feel more comfortable with this approach. So we just decided, you know, what happens with these percents is that if you have 30 units, 10% would be 3. And if you have 28 units, 10% is 3.
Right.
But John Burns understands that this is what's required in order to have a shot here.
Sure. Okay. Is there any other questions that people may have?
Ron just raised his hand.
Okay, can we elevate Ron, please?
He's,
Yes, for Chris, you were given over to the town to do the road and the bridge over on River Road West. Are you also giving over extending the sidewalk to the town line?
Hi, Ron. It's good to hear your voice. We have put this discussion off until the fall town meeting. It's wrapped up with this fiscal impact analysis. As you know, we're obligated to widen the bridge over Northbrook and build an extended sidewalk and a pedestrian bridge separate from the bridge over Northbrook. And that is how our obligations read today, and that's not being changed at this town meeting. We're working with this subcommittee that's been formed on what is the true traffic impact from River Bridge, since we didn't bring a large market that we thought we would bring with all those car trips, and what are the offsite improvements that the town feels must be done. The thinking here has become that Northbrook is probably going to need to be replaced altogether in the next decade or two. And rather than widen it and build a separate pedestrian bridge across, it might be better to invest the dollars equivalent to that in a first-class design and feasibility study that the town could have ready when state funds are available. And the best way to build that pedestrian bridge is to integrate it into a brand new bridge. So we are having discussions with various officials in town about whether we want to amend our current obligations and take a cash contribution aimed at that study. You know, towns have opportunities to apply for grants, but they come quickly, and if you're not ready, you miss the opportunity. And so perhaps the town would be well advised to proactively start that study and be ready, and the funds to do that could come from River Bridge. That's obviously a tricky thing to figure out. What would we have spent widening the bridge and building that pedestrian walkway as well? And it's hard to know for sure, but people in town are working on that to see maybe we should trade and take funds to do that study.
Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome, Ron.
I'm worried about that sidewalk. That's my memorial sidewalk.
I know. I think the sidewalk is the easiest part. It's what you do. I mean, we basically have a pretty good sidewalk up to the bridge. But the question is, when you get to that bridge, what happens? And it probably should go on the east side. It's got to cross Northbrook. It's a very complicated thing, especially if you build a separate sidewalk bridge. It's a tricky thing. And you also have the old Banner Door property there, which has 50 feet of frontage on River Road West, right at that location. You need an easement from them to do the construction. And it's turned into a much more complicated thing than we thought it was when we first started.
Okay.
Eloise, is your hand still up or up again? Oh, there you go. She just put it down.
Okay, any other questions or comments, penetrating insights? None.
Not currently.
Okay. This is informative. Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome. If you have room on your agenda for the 23rd, we would love a spot and we'd like to bring John Burns.
I saved time for you. It'll be the same time, 8:30 on the 23rd. And how long do you think you'll need? 45 minutes?
If we could have an hour, it
Yeah.
might be better. I don't want to burden you. I don't know how busy the
No,
agenda
no,
is.
it just helps me when I'm setting the agenda to,
If we could have an hour, it would be
Okay.
wonderful.
I'll give you an hour. At this point, you can have it.
Okay, thank you very much. And then just so you're thinking about it, in order to be ready for a May 3rd town meeting, we would need to hold public hearings on the 2 zoning articles in April.
And we're going to schedule a hearing on the 13th of April.
Okay. And there would be room on that agenda for those 2 public hearings?
Yes.
Okay, great.
We built it into the ones we're doing.
Okay.
We got some too.
All right. And if questions come up outside of the meeting, people can contact Matt or me at any time.
Okay.
And Eloise, I'll send both the Glickman report and my PowerPoint to you this evening so you can make that available.
After you correct the date on that first slide.
I'm going to update that date. Yes, that's all right with everyone.
Eloise has raised her hand again. Tom?
That's fine. Please elevate her.
Yep.
Thank you. That's
Oh,
all.
You're welcome, Eloise. I'll send it tonight.
Excellent. Okay. All righty. Well, if you are all set, then we'll bid you a good night. You can hang out if you want. We don't have much left on this, just a couple of housekeeping stuff, and that's about it.
Well, thank you very much. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you on the 23rd.
Okay, grand.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Good
Have a
night.
good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Okay, thank you for leaving me in on a meeting, and I'll leave now.
Excellent.
Good luck. Carry
night.
on.
Everyone.
Keep up the
Bye,
good
Ron.
work.
Bye, Ron.
Bye.
Bye. So we don't have, the only thing I had on here was 15 minutes for timely items. So if anybody has anything that they would like to share, then we can entertain it now.
I have nothing.
You have nothing? Mr. Tim, do you have anything? Wasn't there an email that floated around? Do we have to take any action on the dues for the housing initiative?
Yeah,
Oh, right.
I think we should, why don't I make a motion that
I'm going to interrupt you first because we had a motion before. I looked it up, but it was for a lesser amount.
yeah,
So
It looks
let's
like-
just do another one.
so I'll make a motion that we make available up to $12,000 from the Housing Partnership pool of funds to be utilized for dues to the Assabet Regional Housing Consortium. We've been accepted as a member by the current members, and that will begin on July 1st with the new fiscal year. And the dues plus some other options that we might utilize, might run up into that range. I mean, the dues themselves, the base isn't that high, but there may very well be other services that we want to take advantage of, and the 12,000 probably makes sense. I don't know if Eloise has anything she wants to add to that.
Eloise, you're open if you want.
Go for it.
We met with them, Chris Keefe and I met with them today, and you know, that what happens is, of course, they review all the different projects that are going on in all these towns: Harvard, Stowe, Boxborough, Littleton, Devons, Lancaster, Hudson, and they're you know, like Lancaster's trying to decide what to do with Atlantic Union College and the industrial school for girls. You know, they have both those sites that are potentially available for housing, and Devons is working on a project that would help Harvard's numbers, and there's a lot of good stuff going on, and they are able to some of the people are pretty sharp. Plus, they utilize the services of this Metro West housing group, which has a couple staff people to help moderate and observe the SHI for the town, the subsidized housing inventory. So that would be the basic service we'd utilize. But then there's a number of other options, like some of the towns are trying to subsidize the initial down payment on a house for somebody, or Harvard's trying to do some rental assistance. They haven't gotten any applicants, but they've had a program available. And in Stowe, they have Stowe, they have a parcel that no, that's not right. It was Bolton. Bolton has a parcel that has the potential, because it's town owned, to be turned over to Habitat for Humanity for the construction of an affordable unit. Stowe's got a big, significant acreage parcel that is going to result in quite a few hundred additional housing units. And then Bolton, right on 495, has two proposed projects that are up in the multi-hundred apartment numbers. So I think we're lucky we got River Bridge when we did, because there's a lot of projects. I know Jay's talked in the past about being a little concerned about overproduction in terms of apartments. And when you begin to look at what they're talking about for Stowe and Bolton and now Lancaster with some of their projects, there might be a glut. So I think we got in the door at the right time. But it's a good group.
Sounds like it's worth the money.
Yeah. For sure. Oh, so I second Tim's motion.
Excellent. Thank you.
Sorry. It's getting a little late. Getting a little slow.
We got a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion? No? Hearing none, I will ask you to vote. I have to do it by roll call vote. Timothy Wheeler.
Aye.
Carolyn McDonald.
Aye.
Tom Sanford, aye. And that motion carries in the affirmative to pay dues up to $12,000 to the Assabet Housing Consortium group.
Yeah, I should have said dues and other services probably is the
That's
best.
fine. We'll amend it to dues and other services.
So amended.
Thank you. Perfect.
I have meetings both tomorrow night and Thursday night. If you were talking about running around with the plan, Friday I'm fine all day, and weekend I'm fine all the time. But
So it probably be, are you around, Carolyn, on Saturday morning?
I have to work on Saturday morning. I'm definitely around all day Friday and Friday night.
Okay. It's Friday. I have my daughter's got a soccer tournament. That's the first night, but maybe I can get home a little early. You said you're around in the early afternoon? We have to
I get out of work on Friday. Yeah.
Yeah. So if
Yep.
I get to your house around 4, you
Yep.
can sign the plan? Okay. Perfect. Then I will do that.
Excellent.
Yeah. And then I can get that done, and I'll just hold it hostage. He'll give me the check, no problem.
Excellent.
I think we're good. Other than that.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, I'm gonna have to do it by roll call. Once again, Timothy Wheeler,
Aye.
Carol McDonald,
Aye.
Tom Sanford, aye.